Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. I've been married to a covert narcissist for almost 20 years. I'm separated from him now, and I use this channel as a way to get information out there to people about what narcissism is, what it really looks like, what it does to you, and what it does to your family. In today's video, I'm going to talk about what it's like to have a narcissist as a parent. Now, I'm familiar with this myself. I was raised in a house where my father is a narcissist and my mother is codependent. I, in turn, became codependent and married a narcissist. And I feel very blessed because I am awake. My mother is in her 70s now. She is going to die codependent. I feel so lucky that I am awake and I see the reality of what's going on because I have two children. I have a daughter and a son. And it is my greatest wish that they grow up to be healthy, happy, successful, fulfilled individuals. So that's part of what this channel is getting information out there to people so that they can be aware of this too. Because I didn't even know I was married to a narcissist. I didn't know I was codependent until about a year ago. And now it is just my mission to change the trajectory of my family. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about what it's like to be raised by a narcissist. Now, I'm going to speak about a male being the narcissist, so I'm talking about the father. What I talk about could really go either way because women also can be narcissists. I happen to have the experience with the men. So if you have a narcissist as a parent, you are at an extreme disadvantage. And I can't even imagine, well, I guess I can imagine how horrible it would be to have two narcissistic parents. So if somebody has two narcissistic parents, they are at such a disadvantage in life. It would be difficult for them to overcome it without a lot of therapy and a lot of knowledge. So I really feel for anybody in that situation. What I'm talking about is really one narcissistic parent and then having the other parent be emotionally available. So if you have a narcissistic parent, you're going to grow up with that parent in a way where they do not have empathy or love for you. And it's not conscious. The narcissist probably believes that they do have love for their child. But, the way that you express love, how you are as a person, is really in your actions. Words don't matter. I learned this the hard way because my husband will tell me that he loves me, that he loves his kids, that he would die for his family, but there is no evidence that supports that. When it comes time for him to do something or to help me in some way, to offer guidance to his children, he is nowhere to be seen. He will just take off, give a silent treatment, or blow up in rage. So he'll say that. So narcissists are going to disagree with what I'm saying, but it's always look for the evidence. Where is their action? What does their action show? Because that's going to tell you everything that you need to know. Narcissists do not have empathy. They do not relate, identify with, or recognize the feelings of anybody else except for themselves. Narcissists are extremely self-focused, but at the same time, they hate themselves. So there's a real dichotomy there. They're 100% invested in themselves, but they loathe themselves. They're constantly trying to escape reality. That's why a lot of narcissists are drug addicts or alcoholics. They're always running away from reality. Reality is their enemy. And when you have a real live child in front of you that needs something from you, that is reality. And if you cannot empathize with the child, if you don't relate to the child, if you don't have an innate desire to do anything for the child, there's going to be a problem. And that's exactly what happens. Narcissists are incredibly neglectful. Now, narcissism can go different ways. My husband is very neglectful in a very obvious way. He literally won't be there. I've been separated from my husband since December. He has hardly seen my kids. In fact, as I record this video, it's August. He hasn't seen his kids since May. And he's not trying to see his kids. He doesn't care if he sees his kids. Now, he'll tell me that he does if I bring it up. If I say, you haven't even seen the kids. You haven't asked about the kids, since May. Well, I'd like to see the kids. That's how he is. He's a covert narcissist, and he's childlike. Now, he can be very cruel as well, but at his core, he's childlike. He has to be told what to do. It's a very unattractive way for a man to be. I mean, it's an unattractive way for a woman to be as well. Don't get me wrong here. But, being in a relationship with somebody, I want my man to take charge, and he doesn't do that. He thinks he wants to see the kids, and he'll tell me that he would die for them if I ask him what he'd do for his kids, but he doesn't. There's no reality there. He's not there for them. The kids don't want to see him, and he's okay with that. I try to put myself in that position. I have underage children. They're dependent on me. I just can't imagine not being there for them, not wanting to be there for them, not seeing them for months. It would be completely unacceptable. It just would never happen. But for him, he's having a rough time. That's always how he looks at it. It's always self-focused. It's never, I need to pull myself together to be there for my family. It's, I'm having a rough time. People don't understand I'm having a rough time. Well, yeah, you're having a rough time because you are completely egocentric and you don't do anything about it. Anybody would have a rough time with that. So that's how a narcissistic parent is. In a lot of ways, the child is going to be more mature than the parent. Narcissists are not mature people. They're not responsible people. And that's what you need to be a mature, responsible person if you're a parent. You have a child to raise. But that's not how it is with a narcissist. Now, some narcissists, like I said, my husband is very passive. He is somebody has to tell him what to do. But other narcissists, like my father, for example, was a very rageful narcissist. He was the type of person that would yell and scream and tell you that you're a loser, that you're never going to be as good as he is, that, he's Mr. Wonderful and you are just, I don't know, like the dirt in the bottom of his shoe. Some narcissists are like that as well. There's never any consistency. There's never a mature person there for the child. A narcissist believes they're superior to everybody. They have an inflated sense of their own importance. Their child can never measure up, ever. My husband also grew up in an environment where his father is a narcissist and his mother is codependent. And his father was a very in-your-face, loud, obnoxious person who consistently told my husband growing up that he was nothing. He would never succeed like my father-in-law has, and he'll be a failure all his life. And, a lot of times when a child hears that, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because that really is true with my husband. He has consistently failed at everything. And I'm not making an excuse for my husband. I think it's just reality. How he grew up made him this way. He's always felt like a failure. Now, my father-in-law is a successful man financially. When he was in high school, he got into every college he applied to except for one. That one college is where my husband went to. And the ironic thing about it is, my husband has issues with his father. He's always had issues. He's always been in competition with him. I've actually known my husband his whole life. And the thing is, when my husband was applying to college, he wanted to go to that college that his father didn't get into. And his father at that point had built up a successful life for himself, and he knew people at that college, and he was able to pull strings to get my husband in, who otherwise couldn't have gotten in. And he didn't get in, actually, and then his father pulled strings and was able to get him in. And my husband almost failed out of college. There's a reason that people reject you initially. But it's just, this is the way that their life is. They're very ego-driven. Everything has to be, there's always a score to settle. And they're like that with their own children as well. They must beat them. If the child, like my son is really good at baseball, but of course my husband was better. My son likes to play sports a lot, but my husband it's never, hey, that's great, you're really good at sports. It's, oh yeah, you get that from me. That type of thing. The child is never good on their own. They never do anything on their own. The child is good looking. Oh, you're pretty, just like mom. Like that type of thing. It's never, their child can never be somebody in their own right. And that sets the child up for a lifetime of disappointment and disaster. And it also makes it very likely that males will become narcissists and females will become codependents. That's typically how it works. Even if in the relationship the mother is the narcissist, usually the male will be the narcissist, the female will be the codependent. And then the child grows up and they're always insecure because their whole life they've been put down. They don't measure up. Like even in my own situation with my kids, my husband is very neglectful. That makes me so worried about my own kids that they're going to feel bad about themselves. They're not going to think that they deserve better, because that's what happened to me. I started dating, I got married. I never once thought to myself, what do I want in a relationship? I mean, I did, like I did in a way, but it was never, what do I deserve? If somebody treated me poorly, I never thought, well, what's their problem? Or, I'm going to have to break up with this person, or, they're not treating me as they should. I didn't have that self-confidence. I grew up being very insecure, and I'm trying to avoid that with my own daughter now. And that's what happens. You grow up in a home like this because it's an abusive home, even if there isn't physical violence. And there isn't always physical violence in a narcissistic home, but there's always child abuse because the child isn't cared for. They're not recognized. Their feelings don't matter. It's all about the narcissist. And then if you have the codependent as the other parent, which is pretty typical, and it's hard. I know this isn't always the case, but I just can't imagine that most people would stay in a relationship with a narcissist if they weren't codependent, because the narcissist is extremely cruel and abusive. Could be physical violence, but just things like silent treatment. My husband is the king of the silent treatment. It's abusive. You don't exist. He decides when he's going to talk. He decides what he's going to do. If I need him, he won't be there. He doesn't care. And he's like that with the children too. He knows that they're upset about things. He's not there. He doesn't care. It doesn't matter. So when you grow up with a narcissist as a parent, you are not put in the place that you should be. You're not elevated to a place of love. You're not shown love that you need. You're not given empathy. You're not provided for. You're there as a tool. Being the child of a narcissist is really kind of like if you think of these celebrity women who have their little foo-foo dogs and they're taking them all around to different stores, and the dog is an accessory. The dog's not running, playing, having fun. It's an accessory. That's what a child is to a narcissist. They are an accessory. And it's a horrible way to grow up, because you grow up and you are just very insecure. So I hope this got some information out to people. I hope you understand this, and I hope that you will continue watching my videos. I try to make a video 3 days a week, and please consider subscribing, liking the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much.